Hello, English 207. Here's feedback on your first exercise. First thing I want you to do is make certain that you listen to the feedback that I've given you. How you'll do that is inside the course shell, click Grades. This will pull up all your grades for the course. I'm logged in, FYI, as a test student, so you don't see anyone else's grades. Exercise 1, Cringe, is here. Notice that I have to click this little button to see both the feedback that I've given you, and this will be a PDF file that you'll be able to read, as well as to listen to audio that I provided you as well. Depending on how you've configured your browser, you may need to save that document and then open it. Most browsers will probably open just from that location. A note on formatting. All the directions are provided in Book 3 of Trotter's The Screenwriter's Bible. Let's take a quick moment to review that stuff. Here inside his text, you'll have a sample screenplay. Follow the guides here. By the way, these little letters here, they're not supposed to be in a final screenplay. Those are really footnotes that Trotter gives you to explain what those parts of the piece are. He kind of goes over some of the basic elements of the screenplay here. Please review all of this. Notice that a screenplay is typically 90 to 120 pages. For this class, you can do a movie short, which is only 40 pages. This stuff here is also really important. His 17 commandments, please read those. Follow all this stuff. Really good points there. Make sure to provide a title page, and quotation marks do go around the title. I made a mistake on one of your essays. Typically, we're using a Courier 12-point font. The margins are really specific and the tabs are really specific. Look at all these guidelines here with the number of spaces and the number of inches from the left margin. Now, I have provided you with a template. I encourage you to make use of that template. Notice lessons about line spacing, and I'll let you go through and review this content on your own. A couple specific notes. The template will be creating a space after every paragraph. You'll want to remove that. If you're using Word, you click this icon here and remove a space after every paragraph. If you happen to have feedback for rather directions for a specific character in your play, it goes in parentheses here. Don't forget to include a cover page. An official cover page should have your contact information on it. If you're uncomfortable about sharing personal information like your address or phone number with the class, that's fine, leave it off. But just be sure to include your name and your KCTCS email address. That's public directory information anyway. A lesson about unnecessary dialogue. This is an example from one of your one of the submissions from this week. It reads, Katie plops down on the kitchen stool and gives the most horrific face to her mother. She stares up at the ceiling thinking of a new way to sway her mother. And then here's the dialogue. Okay, Mom, I have an idea. How about if you let me borrow your car? I will fill it back up for you when I bring it home. Come on, Mom. Nothing is going to happen to your car, I promise. Now, really, this dialogue here isn't really needed. It's pretty clear from the dialogue here that Katie is upset with her mother. A director who's going to be producing this play can decide to plop her on a kitchen stool, can decide to have her stand up on her tiptoes and shriek. However the director wants to do it, what you want to focus on is your dialogue. Okay, moving into revisions. This is important stuff. This is a class in learning how to participate in a workshop. The purpose of a workshop is to give meaningful, substantial, substantive feedback to students so that you as a writer can go make revisions to your piece. The idea of a workshop is not just to pat each other on the back and say, hey, good job, but to give everybody new and different directions they could take their work. When I'm providing you with feedback, I'm not going to be grading it for whether it's right or wrong. Now, I will have grades based on formats, but what I'm going to be doing is giving you ideas for different places you can take your work. I may suggest new characters you could add to your story. I may suggest new scenes that you could put your story, that you can add to your story. That means new plot developments, new plot twists. I might be suggesting new settings, a new different location for your story. The whole idea and the whole purpose of a workshop is to give everybody different directions to take their work. Ultimately, you as the writer get to decide where your work goes. And you as the writer get to decide which feedback you get from the class you're going to incorporate into your story and which you are going to reject. But what we're doing in a workshop is getting you to think about your story in a new and different way, and that's the point of a workshop. Okay, your point or message. I think it's a great idea for a writer of any piece of writing, whether it's a poem or a short story or a novel or a screenplay, to stop and think about ultimately, what is this piece of work trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Now, there's some work that has a social commentary or a political message, and that's fine. Some writing does that. But other writing does things very differently. Like some authors are simply trying to capture a certain kind of interpersonal dynamic, the relationship between a mother and a son. Another writer might be trying to capture the feeling of a particular place, what it is like to live in rural Kentucky in the 1950s. That's an example of a point or message. And then you go back and think about how you can construct the entire screenplay, the characters you choose, the settings you choose, the dialogue, the plot twists, all serve to support that larger point you're trying to make. And lastly, just a point on originality. There are hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of screenplays written every year. What about your screenplay is unique? What about your screenplay is different? All right, keep up the good work.